Get your man the flute to play song, the fuck.
Dear Gwetch, everyone, Kachima Toshi, and welcome back to episode number 100 and fucking something of the Inline G Flute Podcast with me, your host, motherfucking Inline G. Happy Christmas! Merry Christmas, baby! Maybe. Lads, I've pre-recorded a batch of episodes, and I have no idea what order they're coming out in. That's going to be for the Guinness in Belfast to tell me. So this episode could even be coming to you from beyond the grave. So anyway, we've got another live in-person podcast guest and another one of my mates, which I fucking love doing. You might have seen this week's guest actually pop up on your Instagram reels, especially if you're a flute player. He's popped up recently. He is that guy dressed as a mushroom playing a flute in the shape of a mushroom or various other mushroom flutes. And actually, as this intro is pre-recorded again before I've actually done the episode, fuck knows what he's been up to since then. God only knows what he's been putting on that Instagram since then. So here's the crack. This week's guest is Tom O'Connor. Now, Tom's a fine lad, plays every instrument you can imagine, and he plays in my Irish music sessions here in Cologne, Germany. A few weeks ago, Tom rocks up with a flute shaped like a cube. That's the only way I can describe it, right? And anyone that knows Tom knows that this is par for the course. This is a very common thing for Tom to do. This is not out of character. But then he tells me he's making all kinds of flutes in all kinds of shapes and sizes. And I said, Tom, you're coming on the Inline G podcast to talk about this. That's it. Now, as this intro is pre-recorded, I haven't the foggiest fucking clue what happens in the next hour. Okay? So you guys are going to figure this out before I do. And that is the way, I like it. Oh, I need a break. I'm burning out. Anyway, if you're a regular listener to this podcast, skip ahead a minute. You know what I'm about to do. If this is your first time listening to the Inline G podcast, please just lend me your ears for one further minute before you can skip to that chat with Tom. The Inline G podcast is free, and it will always be free. That is a motherfucking guarantee. However, if you wish to donate to the podcast, you can now do so through the Patreon on the screen. Now is the address, and for the audio listeners, it is patreon.com/the Inline G Flute Podcast. Guys, it costs €5 a month. This is the definition of a small independent podcast. I do everything around here on my own. Audio production, video production, graphic design, marketing, you name it, I do it. Script writing, the solo episodes take a lot of time to write those episodes. It's a lot of work. I adore it. It is the greatest and creative endeavor of my life. But it's fucking hard work. There are no sponsors on Inline G because every time they come on, they're like, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. They want too much creative control and they can just go fuck themselves. That's what makes this podcast great. Now, this is the world's biggest flute podcast now officially, and it is 100% listener funded. Can you just take that in for a fucking second? That is so rock and roll. And that's because of you guys, and I love you for it. I am a small independent artist, and you're putting the money right into my pocket to make this podcast better. Where else would you spend your money? Fuck Netflix. Stick it in here. Now, you're not going to get any extra episodes if you sign up to the Patreon, because I do believe it should be free for everybody. Essentially, what you're doing is, if you can afford it, you're supporting it. If you can't, you don't have to, okay? So sign up on patreon.com if you just want to give me a one-off fee. Essentially to say, here, you get 4 episodes of this podcast every single month. I buy Gareth a pint at the end of the month to say thank you. Sign up for 1 month and then unsubscribe immediately afterwards. That's just giving me a one-off fee of $5. No weird fees or anything. Don't sign up through the app if you're using an iPhone, because Steve Jobs will get his 10% from beyond the grave. Go into your browser, please. So if you can afford to sign up to it, please think about it. It's just €5, guys. It really makes a big difference around here. And the people who do sign up, thank you so much. You have really changed my life. If you can't afford that even, times are hard. You might be a musician yourself, struggling along a little bit. It's fine. You get the same podcast as everyone else. Someone who can afford to is paying so that you can listen for free. It's a system based on kindness and on soundness. Thank you very much. So here is this week's Inline G podcast with the chaotic and brilliant Tom O'Connor. Well, I swear to God, I don't think there's ever been a moment in this podcast where I've been speechless. This is 130 episodes, and it's the first time I actually don't know what to say. This is wild. So, what I've done is I put an intro in. Everyone knows who you are and what you do, but I didn't know the name of the workshop and what's going on. So, tell us about the name first of all.
Yeah. So
and where we
so my name is Tom O'Connor, and this is the Misu Instruments workshop. Yeah. So this is a new endeavor, let's say, where I've been designing all kinds of strange instruments, mainly Windows instruments, mainly flutes, but not all. This is.
Sorry, can you just tell us Misu as well? Can you tell us where the name came from?
Yeah. So.
It's a great story.
You need for the name of a brand, a company, you need some severe inspiration, and
you do.
And what better inspiration than the name of your cat?
Yes.
So
entirely.
Our cat is called Tiramisu, but we normally call her Misu for short.
Yeah.
Or sometimes Juan, but
obviously, yeah, because that's a Spanish translation.
Yeah, but then so we have her name is Misu, so Misu Instruments.
That's bang on.
Yeah.
Man, straight off the bat, this is mad. This is absolutely mad. I am so sold on this. Because I think the reason I got the idea of bringing you on this is because you came to the sessions with one of those ones, I think, one of the cube ones.
Yeah.
And you just brought it out so nonchalantly, but I've built the flute that's shaped like a cube. And I was like, Tom, what the fuck are you talking about? And that happened. Man. So, I have so many questions. Also, when I came here today, I genuinely thought, because I've seen your Instagram reels where you've got the mushroom ones, and I genuinely thought you only had like 3 or 4 of these built, and it was a very new endeavour. This is insane. Okay, so I want to maybe go, tell me how it started. What was the first one you built? How did you get interested in this?
So I've been doing all kinds of music for many years, and started playing the flute itself about a year and a half ago, but before that been playing various penny whistles and stuff for maybe 3 or 4 years. And then I think it's actually last Christmas, so I thought it'd be funny to buy like a bunch of people in my family penny whistles so we could all do some like shitty flute Christmas songs.
Great gift
Christmas
idea.
songs together. Little did I realise, if you tried to buy like €10 penny whistles on the internet, like the sound of one on their own is okay, but they're just wildly out of tune.
So bad.
You'll have like one a quarter tone sharp, one a quarter tone flat.
Exactly.
And you try to play anything with them, and it just sounds terrible. And then I tried like, maybe if I ordered a €20 one, then it's also really badly in tune.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to spend £500 to buy five decent penny whistles for a joke to be able to So then that kind of got me interested in like, how could you do this cheaper? And then I came across I think on YouTube this guy called Nicholas Brass, who makes all these like wild instruments, a lot of different flutes but also percussion, just guitars. He just he's got these crazy compilations of like hundreds of these absolutely mad instruments he's made. So seeing that was definitely inspiration, and he has all these tutorials about making these PVC instruments. So then let me go some of these. So
also, guys, point out the audience members here. For anyone listening, if you're listening on Spotify and you're not getting the video version, I promise you, there's one episode where it kind of is worth switching to the video episode, because you want to see this. Man, what he's got here is...
So these are some of the PVC flutes.
These are literally just PVC pipes.
Yeah, and so you have PVC pipe and then a little block of wood, and then the rest you can make with simple tools. So you need a hacksaw and some files and a sharp knife, and you can make these. And so basically, and the really nice thing is the material's cheap. So for 2 meters of PVC tube, maybe cost you €1, €2.
Oh wow, that is cheap, yeah.
And so so the first thing I was interested in is just figuring out how to make a fairly regular PVC flute, be able to make a major scale, whatever. So following these tutorials, there's a few different ways you can make the headpieces. This one is it's like what do you call it? They're called like native flute style ones because you can carve these out of wood quite easily.
Okay.
Anyway, so piece of wood and these. So, and then basically you can find designs of like where exactly to put the holes.
And what size the holes are as well.
But even if you have these, the advice is drill them a bit smaller than that, and then take a file or some kind of tool and slowly make the holes bigger and bigger until they're the right size. So here's just a random example. I think this is...
So what key is this in?
I think this is harmonic major. Yeah. So...
This class.
And generally with choosing the hole positions, because I've ended up making a bunch of these, you get it wrong a bunch of times and you kind of figure out the rules. And so for like a major scale you can find good schematics for, and there are like calculators you can find for like making, getting you a really good approximation of it.
Yeah. But is it more of an art than a science?
Yeah, so the key thing is any particular note. So say if I have all the holes closed.
Yeah.
We have just the length from the fipple till the end.
Yes.
That is what determines the lowest note. So
yeah.
If I have a really long one, like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's quite this, but a low octave. So with no holes, you have just like one of these. And this, when it's become so long, they're called what's like called an overtone flute, where the louder you go, you just hear all these crazy overtones. Like
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's these overtone flutes. But then once you want to put holes in, if you take a particular hole, so this goes from a D, I think, to an E. And
yeah.
I could move that hole further towards the end if I made it bigger.
Yeah.
Or I can move it closer towards the head if I made it smaller.
Right. Okay.
There's limits to how small the holes can be, so you kind of have a limit this way, and once you go too far this way, the hole becomes, once the hole is as big as the width it isn't there. But each one you basically have a bit of wiggle room. And so you might think, first of all, like, okay, well, obviously you want all the holes to be the same size, but if you do that, they won't be in a comfortable position to play at all. So you'd have, it's especially when you have a semitone between the two notes, they'd be so close that your fingers overlap.
Ah, okay.
So
that's why the holes are big. Man, I as someone who's played Irish whistle for so long, you'd think I would know this.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of really, really simple at the heart of it, but there's really an art to it. And so you could take this exact scale and shift all these things around so that maybe for someone who had bigger hands, or if you wanted to make the sound quality of certain notes better, because the smaller the holes go, they have a bit of a quieter sound.
Okay, slightly weaker note then, yeah.
Yeah. So there's kind of trade-offs all around. And you can also play with...
Do you prioritise certain notes then in that sense? Or certain notes you want to make stronger? Do you want your tonic and your fifths and all stuff to be...
Yeah, I think in general, you just don't want any of them to be too small. And once you go...
Okay, so it's an overall compromise you're looking for then.
And like these are generally what you go into the family, I think they're called like the pre-Bohem flutes.
Yeah.
And these are these flutes where they have different size holes. And because of this, the sound quality is slightly different between them. And then once you get to the full, like, scrap. Here's this.
Yeah.
Plastic flute. I didn't make this one, but it's from...
that would have been impressive now, man.
From Nuvo. But on these ones, all the holes are actually
exactly
the same size. Or... pretty much, depending on the thing, but they're basically the same size, and that gives a very consistent sound on all the notes.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a lot of innovation goes into this, but to be able
that's all the keys in the system to obviously make this.
Exactly, to be able to make that happen, you have all the levers and all this complicated stuff. So it's hard to achieve with this, and put this down. So so basically, with any particular scale or note, you can move them up or down.
Okay.
And the great thing about the PVC flutes is you don't have to overthink it because it's so cheap. Like this,
you screw it up here.
The raw materials, let's say 50 cents or something like this. It takes time to make, and especially making the headpieces is quite fiddly. So maybe when I was first making these, this would take like 2 hours to make one of these, which if you're...
It's not that long either. Like.
Yeah, and so think DIYing for them for yourself. It's really affordable and cheap. and so if you mess up the hole placement, and what normally happens when you do this is you end up having to make certain holes so big that they're annoying to play.
Yeah.
You just make another one and then shift that hole slightly.
Just further
up, down.
Yeah.
So basically, you just trial and error your way until you have one.
But then when you get the trial and error down, do you like write down exactly what you like then in terms of the measurements and the size between the holes? Or is it trial and error for every single flute?
Generally, for me, it's a bit of a mixture. So let me just find another example here. So I think this one. So this one. So this one here is harmonic major. This one here is harmonic minor. And
you can build them in harmonic minor.
You can make any scale you want. So basically, I'll just.
I've never heard a whistle being played in the harmonic minor.
I'll show this really close. You can see harmonic major and harmonic minor. The only difference between them is the third. So this one has a big hole. This one has a small hole. But once you have a big hole, it then slightly just affects
everything
the hell
else.
of the one.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But still, I could use the placement of the minor one first, and then make small adjustments to make the major. So if you have one for a reference, that's good. So just an example of this harmonic minor one.
See, what I'm fascinated by as well is this. Okay, so if I can explain this really quickly for anyone that isn't. Also for me to explain it myself, to make sure I've got a grasp of this. So when we play the harmonic major scale, then like the Irish was, for example, the bottom note is D, then E, then obviously be F sharp because that's the major scale, so it's going to be a major third, and then G, A, B, C sharp. It's going to be your last note, and it's all open. So it's going to be a raised seventh essentially. Semitone between the last note and the first note.
Yeah. So actually, harmonic major isn't the normal major scale. Harmonic major itself has a flat 6. So if I play this harmonic major one, so same as normal, but then
okay, so that's obviously different to the scale I get with what scale would my Irish whistle be in?
Just a major scale, the D major. Yeah. So. And it's really so if you're.
Is there another name for the harmonic major scale? Where do we see that? What kind of music do we see that?
It's quite rare in Western music, but you get it sometimes. And if you make music from harmonic major scale, there's a lot of augmented chords that come as a result of it. So it's a bit of an unusual scale, but you can also get the flavour of it. But the thing that's so nice about making these whistles with a particular scale is that you don't have to really, really know the notes really well. And, if you play these notes on the flute, you have to really drill them, practice scales. You can basically just play stuff you'd normally play on the flute, mess around with it, and you can play it very quick, and then really internalise the sound of the scale. Yeah. So a thing I've actually been doing is like writing songs in different scales, making flutes to match the song, and then playing over those songs in the flute. So I have a song in harmonic major, so I made this guy.
How fucking awesome.
Yeah, and it's really fun for soloing.
It definitely gives me flavours of like traditional Jewish music, klezmer music. It's got that kind of vibe to it.
And then I've also made some of these like mad ones that have like this one.
I saw this earlier. What is that? So there's an extra hole in this. It looks like. Do you play that with your pinky?
Let me remember. so this one has 8 holes in instead of a normal 6. So I think you've got a
both pinkies are bringing. Okay, what scale is this?
So,
because I'm fascinated by this one. What scale is this?
We've got the bass.
Play the notes down, see if we can work it out. Yeah.
I'll leave out the in between notes, and then we just have.
Okay, so we have harmonic minor.
Harmonic minor, but then we have an additional flat 9, so the D sharp, and then we also a flat 9 and a flat 5. So this means we can get blues scale kind of things. Or we can do these kind of
So you're adding essentially 2 extra notes, which is going to be a semitone above the bottom note and then a semitone above the fourth.
Yeah, exactly. quite fiddly to play, but again,
the fascinating thing about that is my girlfriend got me a Georgian flute called the Salamori, and she brought it around, and it's a whistle, but it had like extra holes in the fingers. I was like, man, how the fuck do you play this thing?
Yeah.
And obviously, I never knew that was a thing. Now I'm seeing this, I'm like, oh, that's why, because the scale is going to be different.
And it gives you different scales, and obviously you're so used to playing the whistle just using these 3 fingers, but then you kind of, if you want to play normal scale, you have to like join these together, but then you have them.
Yeah.
So normally on a like a flute or a clarinet for the G sharp, instead of it being normally it's like you press it to open it.
Yes,
because
I always find that weird, yeah.
But the reason is because then you can play the normal scales without thinking about those fingers.
Yes.
But then just to optionally do it. So, but with just the holes, you have to be thinking about those extra.
Man, I can't believe I didn't even think of that, because I'm always banging on about how flutes used to have what we call an open G sharp.
Yeah.
Because it makes total sense that it's the only finger on the flute that when you put it down, the pitch goes up.
Yeah.
But that makes total sense now you're saying it's because it keeps the original scale then intact.
Yeah.
With your 6 fingers.
Actually, also the D sharp as well.
It does that as well, that's true, yeah.
Literally, and it's the exact same trade off here.
Exactly, yeah.
So I tried making some of these ones where it's like, okay,
I'm learning so much.
This is like another blues kind of thing. Yeah.
Can I ask you something then? Right. So, I'm not going to say the company that I bought it from because I don't want to get them in hot water, but I bought a brand new Irish whistle recently.
Yeah.
And fucking €150, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, it sounds great, but I thought a lot of the money went to, obviously the material is going to be one thing, but I thought a lot of the money went into the craftsmanship in terms of the scale. But it doesn't seem like it's that hard to do.
I'd say it's...
Like, they don't have some kind of secret recipe for their scale, do they?
No, you can... I think it's pretty easy to figure out. And obviously, if you're making the amount of wood or something like this, where the wood doesn't just magically come in tubes. You're having to, there's all the...
True, yeah.
There's a lot of handwork and machining that goes into it, but also to do your iterations on wood, to make your perfect design out of wooden ones, it's like, if each one is costing you, £30 of raw material, or I don't know, even £5 of raw material instead of like 50p, then
your markup's doubled, yeah.
Then all that iteration takes more time. But yeah, I think really it's the
material, I suppose, is the big cost then, isn't it?
But even for a penny whistle, the material's pretty small. It's not like but I think it's really the
it's a racket. That's what it is, man.
It is a racket, but also even if you figure out the right dimensions, it's like a good. I think when you compare like really cheap whistles to more expensive ones, someone will make it to a design, but then they'll play it and they'll check the tunings and they'll tweak things and they'll be able to adjust it.
Okay, so you are paying for that quality control essentially then as well.
Yeah, because also you have these questions like, do I want to tune it equal temperament? Do I want to tune it like just intonation to it?
Yeah. Have you done one with just intonation? Have you played about with that?
Well,
so obviously that means the major thirds are going to be slightly flattened, aren't they?
Yeah, so generally I do it. I'll do the root note with the tuner. Sometimes I'll try to do every note with a tuner. Sometimes I just kind of do it by ear. So
okay.
It ends up being...
So it's somewhere in the middle, maybe, yeah. So, but that is an art, isn't it, as well? That's not a science. There's that lovely colour you get with it if you go slightly towards that.
Yeah. So basically lots of fun to have. And
mad. Okay, so you make all these PVC flutes, which, by the way, you should be like, you haven't bought them yet, but you should be bringing these to the session, man, and just blasting them out.
And one other thing I'll show off with the PVC ones that's really fun is that like, so I made these ones that had loads of holes, but then I kind of realised it's actually funner to make one that has fewer holes, especially as if you try to make. So this is like a low whistle. I don't know if this is a D or a low one, but once you get to low whistles, it's really annoying to play.
Always is, even for the Irish ones, yeah.
And so again, this does work. It's a bit of a weak sound, but anyway, really annoying to play. But then I was like, hey, let's just make a pentatonic. And so if I've got this one here, so if you only have 2 fingers per bit, it's comfortable to play. But then turns out like playing a flute with just a pentatonic is really fun because
there's no wrong notes essentially.
No wrong notes, and you can do all these like really fast pentatonic runs, which you normally have to like think about to miss notes. Here it's just.
Wait, it's like See, that would be amazing for like improvising and stuff. where you don't have
Yeah.
to actually read any sheet music or think about it, you just play whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly, you know, so...
And there's no wrong notes, that's class.
No, and then, so this is I think it's a low C in a major, you know, in major, and again, even here with just 2 notes, the gaps start getting so big that, okay, I'm using my first and little finger, but given it's only 2 notes, it's a lot less fiddly than trying to do 3.
Yeah,
so.
it's fucking... That is class.
Yeah. So yeah, highly recommend if you like, even if you have limited handwork skills, like, you know, don't have loads of experience building stuff, but just kind of got stuck on how to go. You can make these like completely custom to what you want, instruments for scales, and even if it's just a learning tool to learn about how to make a flute.
Yeah, and scales and harmonic, man, that's class. Because I've seen people do it out of like carrots and stuff.
Yeah,
that's quite a common one, isn't it? Okay, so you've got these, but now we're we're getting to the serious stuff. So where's the gap between these and these?
Yeah, so...
And also in terms of craftsmanship, I've got some very big questions for this. But anyway, what was the next step here between this and what we've got on the table?
So because I've been playing around these scales, and especially for these larger ones, really what I wanted a good low whistle. Yeah. But turns out for a low D whistle, I was just finding like it awkward to play, and I've had various issues with RSI before. Yeah. And like, you know, I'd make a low whistle, play it for 20 minutes, and I'd feel like my arm flaring up a bit, and I'm just like, okay.
Even the high end ones still feel like that though.
Yeah, and so then I was looking at, and I saw there are some low whistles you get where they use like actual like mechanisms similar to clarinets and stuff to make it so the holes are closer to each other. So then I was thinking like, yeah, it'd be cool to be able to make some of these mechanisms to make it easier. Obviously, you can then go all the way to full flutes, full clarinets with these. But then I was like, okay, how am I going to make these mechanisms? Don't really know. But then I was also thinking about like, okay, well, another way you can make the holes closer is instead of having a straight tube, you can curve the tube until the holes are closer.
But that won't affect the sound with the way, no?
You kind of, yeah. Okay. So, so long story short, I got a 3D printer because, kind of been interested for a while, but also I thought like, okay, I was reaching the limit of the kind of things I could actually make from out of hand PVC things without buying more equipment. And anything with curves becomes so much more hard to machine.
Of course, yeah.
And then also making the headstocks was just taking quite a bit of time, and you could easily mess up and get wrong. So then, I got a 3D printer, and I started out making similar things. So this one here is a low D whistle. It's got aluminium tube, because again, you can buy this pretty cheap, and then a 3D printed top, which has the...
You made this?
Yeah. So again, aluminium's pretty easy to work with. You got a hacksaw, you got, a drill. So it's doable, do some iterations on the top. And so, it sounds, pretty nice as well.
Why am I paying 300 quid for low whistles when you're sitting around the corner here making them?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So again, you can make these dead cheap, but still, I was finding this, and it's like, it sounds fine, but I'm not liking the fingering for playing them. You can do this. What's the piper's grip like that?
Yeah, where you play with like the even not the padsy fingers, but lower down. Yeah.
Or you play with your little finger, but it doesn't feel right. And I just
no. I feel like that's the only real solution, to put your fingers flat. But
yeah. So then I started trying to make some of these like quite more like Twisty instruments, and after a few, this guy I'll show later because it isn't a flute.
That's mad. That thing, by the way, absolutely fucking mad.
I ended up making.
So this is where it all started for me.
Yeah.
You brought this to the session once.
So these cube flutes. So they follow a curved path through it. Here's a kind of I'm not sure I can't remember what scale this particular one is, but. So not particularly in tune, this one, needs some more iterations, but anyway, basically did some experimenting to figure out how twisty can I make a tube, and turns out fairly twisty. Yeah. If you go too much, it ruins, like, you start losing notes at the bottom.
Okay.
You have the first 3 notes. But here's an example of one, which is, I think this is about an E, a low E whistle.
Look at this, man. This is insane.
But the nice thing is, like, well, it's a bit of the fingering's completely different, but you have this different grip.
Yeah, isn't it backward, isn't it? So it's like...
It's like...
The right hand's playing with the left hand would normally play, isn't it?
And one of them, and then one of them is backwards. But anyway, you can get a kind of low sound in this compact form.
It sounds good. Man, that's...
Yeah.
What was the inspiration between like this actual design with the tubes? Because this is where it's getting artistic as fuck. It's so creative.
Yeah, I think I was just playing like it's just kind of like playing around with curves and shapes and seeing what would work, what geometric things. I have some nice failed experiments. Like this one is called like
that looks like an adapter for when you bring your phone on holidays.
Yeah. So this inside it, you can't really see it on video, but basically it has 3 layers. Each one follows a really twisty path. So this whole cube is basically solid pipes. The idea is that like if this worked, it'd be like as low a flute for a smaller volume you could possibly
okay,
make.
so okay.
But in this case, if I tried to like, it's too twisty and the notes just wouldn't work beyond the first few. So it turns out there is a limit to how twisty you can go. So I was playing with this, and then after this one not working and getting confused, I was thinking, okay, I need to simplify this design. And so then I was then thinking like, okay, I don't want to do so. This one was using Hilbert curve inside, but I was like, okay, let's just do something simpler going around the edge.
Yeah.
And then that's how this guy is heard. And then as you can see on these it gives you here like this is like I started then figuring out this approach for making these fully 3D printed things where I'd make one either with some randomly placed holes or like pretty randomly based on intuition, and then I'd like manually file them until they got
because that's my question now is how the fuck do you work out where to put the holes on this in?
But honestly, the main trick for doing the 3D printed ones is especially for relatively small instruments, the filament costs are pretty low. So really, just make one and guess, and then either file it to get it closer, and then that lets your next guess be a lot more accurate, or literally just adjust the holes, print another one. And I think making all these manual flutes first really helped me get a good intuition for the rough spacing. Yeah. And that you can also measure the path length and then take the path lengths it would be on a straight flute as a starting point. It doesn't work exactly the same, but there's that's an approximation. But also for something like this, there's also the big question of like, it's a cube. Where do you put the finger hole so it's even playable? You have some different options, like how could you grip it? So I think I spent a while just with one, and I'd just be like, just like, what if I hold it like this, until I finally figured out like a relatively comfortable way to do it.
Can I ask a stupid question? I've always wondered about, and I feel like you're the man to tell me. On the mouthpiece, the little hole here. Yeah. What's the point in that?
There's a little hole. Okay, so
you get it in recorders and you get it in whistles as well, yeah.
So this part is called a fipple, and a fipple.
Are you winding me up, or is that?
No, this is the actual. So this whole family of flutes are called fipple flutes.
Okay.
And so it's so if you take one of these flutes, which are not a fipple flute, it's a good counterexample. So here you have a sharp edge on the mouthpiece.
There's a bowling flute for the audience.
Yeah, so you have a sharp edge on the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
And then with your mouth, you're going to shape your lips into this perfect shape so that a perfect stream of air comes out and intersects with the sharp edge just at the right place. So and also obviously big shout out to Gareth for the flute lessons last year. That really helped me get my flute technique together.
You really did, man. Yeah.
So I
don't think I mentioned I give you lessons on this. That's so funny. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So in one of these flutes, your mouth does the shaping, and the big advantage of this is that you have a lot of control over making low notes loud, making high notes quiet, because you can adjust the size and shape and pressure and speed of this little stream of air for different things. You can make the sound breathier. You can make this. So. But the big downside is there's a skill issue, because you have to learn to make this perfect stream of air.
It's a lot more work then,
and it's hard. It's hard to do. You can't just give it to a 5-year-old and go blow into into this.
Exactly.
So
that, man, I don't know why, but I have never thought about that before.
So when you look at one of these, there's a little kind of flat tube at
Yeah.
the top. Blowing in there, whatever your mouth is doing it before, you're just going to get a nice perfect stream of air coming out.
Yeah.
And then you design it so that the stream of air hits the fipple at just the right angle, so that you then get a sound.
Ah.
But with these, you can get high harmonics by blowing harder, but you can't do all this shaping of the
Obviously,
tube.
because it's fixed.
Yeah, so you always have low notes are quieter, and higher notes get louder and louder. There are some design things you can do with this if you want to make the stronger notes more powerful or the higher notes more powerful.
Yeah.
And there's this is really the hard bit of designing these complete. Again, making the PVC ones was great because you can have a go adjusting all the bits, fine-tuning all the stuff until you get the sound right to give you that intuition of what affects these parameters. But then basically, this is really where the magic happens in a flute, and most of the air comes out of the hole.
Yeah.
And a little bit of air goes down the tube, and and that's what
Changes the pitch.
Changes the pitch, the harmonics of pressure inside the tube. So
amazing.
So yeah,
thank you for answering that. I've always wondered that.
Oh no, that's a pleasure.
And
there's all these, it's been a really art that's been developed over millenniums, literally, to figure out all the parameters in here. There's books about them that you can read, not that I have, but to do the perfect ones. And if you're making them out of wood, you can shape these things to be absolutely perfect down to thousandths of an inch.
Exactly, you can really find something then.
But with 3D printing, you have a different set of design constraints because you have a limited resolution of your printer.
Okay.
You also have to worry about these things called overhangs. So this one is printed in layers, and you print one layer at a time. And if you imagine this little piece here, sorry for those just listening, but you can check out the video.
Yeah.
Nothing is supporting this underneath, and so the printer just has to go from one side, just run across to the other side, and hope it stays.
Yeah, of course.
But also, the fipple, if you can see here, it isn't actually that sharp, because on this one it's printed this way up. I've done some other designs that are printed in other orientations to get a sharper fipple, but they have their other trade-offs. So there's some kind of 3D printing magic to actually get it sounding right, but really, instead of, if you try to start with the textbook perfect fipple design, it then actually gets hard to print. So there's an element of making a printable version and try to, again, still it's trial and erroring it until you get it. So, so working with, just printing the headpieces, making, 10 of these, 20 of these, 30 of these until you get the sound right.
And just giving it a go,
Try it on your tube. Okay, that didn't work. Let me try something else. And this really gets into the black magic territory of how this works. The intuition for the tuning, honestly, is pretty easy once you've done a few.
Yeah.
Making these, when I've, which I can show you in a bit, maybe my third proper design of doing these for printed ones in different ways. Again, I thought I'd figured it out, and then again you make one and it's just not working, or it's sounding terrible. So many of these tiny things to tweak, and almost all of them, when you get them wrong, the sound is just really airy. So it's how do I get this clear sound? And there's all these tiny bits to tweak. So,
which is also fascinating because as bowing flute players, the airiness in the sound usually isn't part of the design. It's us, but that's why then, obviously, because we create the airstream.
Exactly, because you're...
So there is no control over that here?
There's no control of it other than your design. And so really for, making these 3D printed ones, the hard thing is the design. Once you've got the design, a design that you can actually print, then you can take this and make fun stuff. So...
Okay, so let's keep going with this, because, man, we have to get on to all these.
Yeah. So, we
got the cube.
Making these cube flutes of various sizes. And then...
Class. Where does your mind go next after that?
So I started making... So I can't remember if it's directly to the mushroom flutes, but the mushroom flutes came soon afterwards. So
let's talk about mushroom flutes.
Yeah, so here's an example. If you see on the video, it's nice and colourful. This is printed in, I think, 5 different parts. One is the stem, one is the top, the gills, and then some bits for the fipple. I basically worked on this design so you print the fipple bit in a few pieces and join them all together. Due to some 3D printer stuff, you want to be able to print each bit so that the layers are in a nice way.
Okay.
I won't go down deep into those details, but it's a whole rabbit hole.
And now, obviously the the actual design of the flute is a little bit bendy, which means, am I right in saying that fingers can be closer together?
Yeah, it does. So by having them curved, it does actually make the fingers slightly close together, which is cool. But the really nice thing with this design is if you compare it to so this is tuned to D, and if you compare it to another D flute, the whole thing is actually quite a bit shorter.
Because of the bend.
And because in these ones the fipple is actually under here. The pipe then twists a bit round inside the head and then comes down.
Interesting.
And so that uses up some of this dead space here.
Yeah.
So the fingers actually start quite close to to where this is.
Is it more difficult then when you're putting the air into it to hit the fipple when it has to travel a little bit further to get there?
Yes, and that was something I had to refine the design over quite a few iterations to get right, because if you have too much turbulence in the airflow here, or it's too long, it's too twisty, again the air you don't get a smooth stream of air coming out, and the sound gets bad.
Yeah.
So definitely took some iterations to get a nice thing, but here's one of these D mushroom flutes.
It sounds really good as well. It's got a lovely clear tone.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, really happy with how
it's very bright. I like that.
Yeah, and
why mushrooms?
Why mushrooms? I think they're just they're really cool objects. I think they kind of have this natural magical thing about them. Also, my partner Maddie is a mushroom scientist. She studies plant mushroom interactions. So yeah, generally
mushroom mad in this house.
There's a lot of mushroom interest in general, and they just look cool. And
they fucking do, man.
And the other thing that's really nice about mushrooms is you can do a vague approximation of something mushroom shaped, and it looks like a mushroom.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're I want to make a dog, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not that good at 3D design yet for really, really complicated 3D
Super
stuff.
intricate, yeah.
And so if I try to design a dog right now,
it might not look like a dog.
It's going to look kind of shit.
Yeah.
Whereas this is
you always know what a mushroom looks like.
It looks like a cool mushroomy thing. So yeah, I made these ones, and then this also various iterations over time to get there. I can show you a couple of the first.
Oh, they look cool as well, man.
A couple of the first mushroom flutes were I made these little round guys. I made this little one-hand mushroom flute. And this one has again the tube going quite a way around the top, so that I think this whole thing is about a D, even though it's very small, which is kind of cool, but you only have 3 notes that you can actually reach. So various of these different mushroom iterations, and then I think once I got to this point, I was really happy with the design.
Yeah. And
then I thought, okay, how else can I push this design? So
God forbid you take a break and just not do anything more.
Yeah. So one thing I was interested in again is these things called drone flutes, and in a drone flute you have.
Man, I had never heard of this until you showed me this just before the podcast. This is wild.
Yeah, you have 2 flutes at the same time, and it's kind of Gareth, if you just play a long held note on that.
Yeah. What you want?
Let's just say that's fine. Yeah.
Does sound amazing.
So you get these flutes that have 2 tubes next to each other. One of them is a drone. Maybe you get some that have no holes, sometimes have 1 hole, sometimes a fun. But basically,
by the way, stupid question, is that something similar to bagpipes? No, bagpipes make the drum with the arm, don't they?
But they have an extra pipe coming out the bag for a solid drone. But it's similar. So you can get these double drone flutes, triple drone flutes.
Oh, so the double drone, what's the 2 notes then?
Yeah, so you can have maybe a root, a fifth,
and
then or a drone, and then 2 ones that you have 3 holes but in different places. So,
but then if there's double drone, that's 3. It doesn't take a shitload of air.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things. They take more air, and you can get a bit lightheaded playing with them. So anyway, so I was okay, I tried making this kind of splitter thing.
Where in the world do they use these instruments, by the way? I'd never really heard them.
You get some, I think, from
Where did your idea come from? Where have you seen them?
I've seen them from somewhere in South America. I don't know the exact origin, but there's definitely some Aboriginal ones. I think in Australia as well. So it's Aboriginal there, but generally, like, flutes are very old instruments, and there's variations of them all over the place.
Somewhere, yeah, true.
So anyway, I was wanting to make some of these. I was wanting a drone flute, but I was looking. Again, you look to buy one. It's like, hey, this one looks really cool. It's made of wood. Oh, great! It's €200.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Can I make one myself? And obviously, I've been making. Well, I tried making some kind of normal drone flutes, but then I was like, you know what? I'm making these.
Here, may as well put it all together. Get a mushroom drone flute.
So this one is. It's pretty wild. So you've got one regular mushroom flute.
This is your chef Dave, by the way. This is incredible.
Yeah, one regular mushroom flute, and then there's a drone flute hidden in the top of it. So it looks...
I can't believe I'm having this conversation.
So it really looks like a magic trick when you play it, because, well, it's like, well, what the hell is it in the first place? But then, yeah, hopefully you'll see.
It is fucking class. By the way, the drone, is it always the same note, or is it changing pitch?
So in this one, there are no there's no fingerings for it, but it will go up an octave if you blow harder.
Yeah, okay. Man, that is class. That fucking rocks, man.
As a fun side note to loop back to earlier conversational scales, so this one has a harmonic minor bass.
Yeah.
But I've actually made all these mushrooms to be interchangeable. So
man.
So I can take a major one, then I've got a major drone flute thing going on.
Man, what the fuck? Man, that is insane.
Yeah. So big fan of this, and it's fun to be able to switch them. And then, like,
obviously you've made them interchangeable. That's why wouldn't you do that with the mushroom heads?
So then, like, obviously, how far can we push this? So this one, I've never seen anything like this before. I'm not saying I'm the first person to make this, but I was thinking about these kind of clumps of mushrooms you get. Again, like. Any biologists in the room was telling me that, okay, these like fly agaric style ones don't actually grow in these clumps in the same way as the one. But anyway, like, I think still, if you're working with this as like abstract mushroomy thing, then it works. So then I was like, okay, well, what if I use the same tube and looped them into two? And then originally I was thinking, oh no, I won't have two headpieces on it. But then I made it so I could shove them on, and then it kind of worked in this bizarre way. So.
I have no idea what's about to happen here. Play it for me.
So basically, if I start from the top, it works just like a normal flute. But then I can also do it from the other side, and it works like a normal flute. And if I cover all the holes, you then get the path to the fipple of the other flute, and you get a lower note from there. So yeah. And then, so that was on one side of it. If I blow into the other side.
What's the difference in the pitch between the two?
So the root note of both of them is actually the same.
Okay.
But because the relative position of the scale of the notes from both sides are different, one of them is roughly a major scale, and the other one is some bizarre, kind of dominant arpeggio thing.
I wouldn't be.
So yeah, definitely a fun thing to explore more is like how can we adjust the fingerings of these to get a different scale from both sides in an interesting way. You can also play both of them at the same time if you get closer. So
seriously, tell me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man. And you could. I'm assuming you could do that on a bigger scale as well.
Yeah. So you can make your
couples flutes.
You can make your low mushroom whistle joint ones. Yeah. So
Man, this is insane. Is that the next one you're going to make then?
I don't know. I've got a big pile of ideas of different stuff.
I can tell.
I've also I was thinking about maybe a mushroom that you like. As you twist it changes the note, or having like a slide whistle where you pull them or something. Yeah, I think they're just really I think the thing that's so fun about making these 3D printed wind instruments is that you have so much design freedom, and I think it's really underexplored.
It seems to be, yeah.
Like if you think about like guitars, people have been making guitars in crazy shapes for ages.
Yes,
but
true.
Generally, you still have the strings in the same place, and it's just like, oh cool, I've got a guitar that looks like a fish. That would be pretty great, but it's like. The guitar bit's still the same.
Yeah.
Something's really fun about going, okay, I want to find an object, make some tubes around it, and then that puts some constraints on the design of it, where the fingers can go, which then probably ends you up with a flute you would have never made before, but then they can just look really, really cool. And if I hadn't been trying to make these mushroom flutes, I would have never thought, hey, let's make a flute with two headpieces on either end that you can blow into. Because it's just stupid. It makes no sense. But then you make.
But there you do it. It makes sense.
But then once you have the kind of the vision of a funny object to make. So I think that's
Which honestly, because you see these sort of novelty, I say very light, even in the market, the Christmas market here, they sell these little handmade. I don't know if they're handmade or not, but these little whistles. They play like shit though. Yeah. They're always fun to buy, but they play like shit. These look amazing and they play.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I could bring one of them to the session and play along.
Yeah, exactly.
No problems at all.
That's definitely the idea. And looping all the way back to the start of the conversation when I was saying, okay, I wanted to buy some whistles for people for Christmas, and I don't spend loads of money. These
are your Christmas presents?
Basically, these are lots of Christmas presents for my family. And so, again, I was thinking, Christmas presents, what's a Christmassy object? Christmas trees. And so, I've been...
There's a lot of Christmas trees here, man. It's great.
A lot of... these are some of the earlier iterations.
And just keep going and keep going.
It's a whole thing. So, we have these... In this design, we have a Christmas tree at the front, and then a twisty tube on the back.
Insane.
And you asked earlier, how twisty can you make the tube? And really, it's a tight balance. If you make it too twisty, the sound breaks.
Notes, yeah.
And so a lot of these earlier iterations are seeing how small and compact can I make it without ruining the sound. And then once I had the sound and the form working right, I could then iterate on them to get to, to think how can I make the design better, more 3D, more... more interesting. Make it shinier, colourful, paint it, all this kind of stuff. And so this is.
But they fucking work. This is the insane thing about it.
So this is in G major. So again, why do it in G? Because also you could play on Irish session tunes on them. Different fingering than if you're doing in D, but sure you could play one like that. So yeah. Yeah.
Man, insane. Now, I suppose, now that everyone's been watching this, they're going to be thinking the same thing I'm thinking. I had no idea this was all going to happen, by the way. I am as shocked as any listener here. Because I told you, I put an intro in, and in the intro I had to go, I have no idea what's going to come up with the next song here, lads. These are just in for it. Hasn't disappointed so far, but also I'm sure everyone's thinking, how can I get their hands on these now? Unfortunately, you're not selling them yet.
No, I've got some fun and games with German bureaucracy to solve before I can properly start selling these. Which is why I've mainly been making these as well to work on designs and to give to people for presents. But my intention is definitely to start selling these in next year once I've figured out the bureaucracy.
Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, but when you get through all the hoops, you will do it, and we'll launch up. So also, we're not finished yet. I want to hear more things, but just when I'm saying that people are listening, you have got an Instagram page.
Yeah.
So people, if they follow that, they can expect updates coming up there.
Yeah, definitely. So Misu Instruments.
MISU, as in the end of tiramisu, obviously.
Yeah, named after tiramisu. Misu Instruments. And so there's some videos on that, but a lot of stuff I've shown on this podcast that isn't on that yet. So a lot more stuff still to come, and a lot more wacky ideas.
I know, and we did talk as well about. I'd be curious when people are watching, especially the video watchers, when they're looking at these instruments, what they would consider a fair price point for a lot of these instruments. Because we were talking about this beforehand. Man, I swear to God, I would pay 50 quid for these, no problems, because they actually work they're novelty instruments that work and play, and they sound good. And especially like interchangeable heads and all. You'd be selling sets of them with different things, and you can pick your scale. You can have a harmonic minor scale. You can have a pentatonic scale if you want, and go improvising on it.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Exactly. So, I guess that definitely touches on some of the businessy things of like what I see the reason for making these.
Yeah.
So one of them is like, I'm just interested and it's fun.
Yeah,
you can probably tell
game,
I've been quite obsessed for the last while about making these. So regardless of trying to sell them, I'd just probably be doing it anyway.
Yes.
Because I like it. But then again, it's like I'm making all the stuff. People seem quite interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the kind of idea is, I've been a musician a long time. I know a lot of musicians, and like any of my musician friends, I would never dream of buying them an instrument, because it's like, hey Gareth, you play the flute. Let me buy you a flute. You'll be like, well, even if I really went out of my way to buy you like a €200 present, you're gonna be like, Tom, what am I gonna do with this?
Yeah, exactly true.
Like, okay, I could buy you like a proper flute, but it's gonna be shit in comparison to your flute.
Yeah, and also it's so unique and personal about what you buy. You want the person,
yeah. Or even if it was like, hey, I'm going to spend 20 grand on a gold flute because I want the best possible flute to give to Gareth as a present because I like him so much. But still, even if I did that, I wouldn't get you quite the right one.
Exactly.
So I think so.
I mean, I really wouldn't complain, Tom.
Yeah.
If you've got one in there, happy days. So because I'm making gold flutes. But yeah, I know what you mean. But these are different.
So I was definitely thinking like I don't want to try and compete on making like proper instruments that you'd play in an orchestra and can play all the notes and a really refined design that's been developed over centuries and all stuff, and are made of really good metals to a really high quality. It's like, I don't think that's an area I can compete on, at least not at the moment. But in this kind of like this intersection between art and instruments, and making these kind of unique gifts that either you could give to your musician friend because they like weird instruments and they're not going to have a mushroom flute already.
Nope.
But you'd give it to them and they're not going to be like, well, that's
what's
just
the fucking point?
This doesn't work, and they'd actually be like, oh, I can actually sit and play it. So I keep finding myself just like sat on the sofa playing the mushroom flute. Maddie's like, Tom, you're driving me insane. Can you stop stop playing? So yeah, like they're really fun to play, and I think there's something.
I can't wait to be clips of this episode, man.
There's something inspiring.
Some of the quotes I've heard in this episode.
Yeah, there's something you pick up such a bizarre instrument, and it's just like
Well, the thing is, like, I'm sure a lot of flute players will know this as well. Like, when I have friends go to any other country, they'll always pick up like a wee cheap local whistle in the market.
Yeah.
But the cheap local ones don't play.
Yeah,
they just don't work.
They either completely don't work, or they work and the tuning's just an absolute state, and you couldn't use them for anything.
But it's a cool present, and I love getting them, but I collect them. I never play them.
Yeah.
I'd love to bring like the Chinese ones or whatever to the sessions, but they're dog shit, man. They don't play.
Yeah. So that's really I'm a musician through and through, and I really want to make instruments that can be played, but bring the fun to them, bring the interest in the design. Something that you could put on a shelf. A lot of since I've been.
But the musical instrument is so the musical appeal is so special because again, making these set of instruments where you can say like, here's one in a pentatonic scale, that is fucking class. I would recommend my students buy things like that because like you will learn more about. This is where music theory. You don't need to study pentatonic scales. Buy a mushroom flute in a pentatonic scale and fuck around on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll find out how to play jazz way quicker than you will in your classical flute.
Yeah, exactly. Loads of people have been telling me I need to put lights in them. You've got these mushrooms, make them glowy, so that's something I want to do next year. And again, I think the thing that's so cool with these is the instrument design is completely hidden if you put it away from you with the holes.
Yeah, so just like a mushroom.
If this was a nice glowing mushroom lamp, people are nice mushroom lamp, and then you could be like,
I'm gonna play the mushroom lamp.
The big reveal.
Man. That is so up my street. If I went to a party with a few pints in me and someone said, I'm going to play this mushroom lamp now, I would lose my fucking shit.
So then that also leads quite nicely onto some of the really crazy instruments I've been making, because we've still been in like normal territory here, relatively speaking. This is so.
Oh, this thing here, man.
This guy. This isn't the final product of this one because I gave it away to someone. I'll be making some new ones. Imagine this, but made of gold filament, so it's nice and shiny, nice decals and stuff, and just engraving on it. So the idea is, this is like a goblet, and it has a cup shape in the top, and you can drink from it.
You can actually drink from it?
Yeah, it's not like, for 3D printed things, it's not really recommended to do lots of eating and drinking from them, especially for the regular thing. But like, if you wanted one time as a joke to drink some beer out of it,
yes,
yeah, that's fun.
That is 100% what I want to do.
And so this one, yeah, it looks like a cup you just carry around like, hey, here's my funny cup. And we were actually doing this. We had these mad outfits at a festival. We had these like golden cups, and it was like they just look like a thing. But then you turn it upside down and blow into it.
What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, so this is a family of instruments which is actually only like pretty new family of instruments in that you tend to not get them as far as I'm aware in like way back 1,000 years, and they're called membrane clarinets. You get like in Indonesia you get kids making them on the street to sell to tourists because you can make them out of like a bottle and some cellophane and a rubber band. But the idea is that the key mechanism, you have some air going in, it has to push a membrane out of the way to then go into another tube.
Okay.
And so the air, and then the membrane vibrating back and forth then makes a sound.
Ah, and that can be adjusted then?
And then that can be adjusted, and then the tube going out is then the tuning tube. So.
Ah.
And this is like, it's so loud. It's you probably won't hear it on the podcast, but they're really loud, really in the face, and I think also for some like foghorns, they're the same mechanism used.
Yeah. That's what's giving the vibes.
Yeah. So here's.
Matt, I feel like I'm tripping balls.
Yeah.
Here.
Here's this other like little. So here's one that isn't hidden inside a cup.
By the way, sorry, can I say? Yeah. By the way, when I came in here, I was looking at this workshop and I was going, I don't know which one. It's like that fucking thing. Is it cake or is it?
Yeah.
Is it cake or not? I'm looking at all these things, going, can you play them? I was convinced that's not something to play.
Yeah, this looks like a vape or something, but no.
So it does look like a vape.
So this is like this has. I'll just do a little close.
Give me the vape.
So basically, you've got this membrane at the top, air in, air out, and this one, yeah.
Absolutely fuck off. And
they sound mad, but they sound kind of clarinetish.
Yeah.
I also have like.
And they work again. They sound class.
Yeah, and you can. There's a lot of expression you can put into them. Another thing, due to physics, I won't go into it unless you really want to. But for the same length of tube, this design will be an octave lower. Than a flute.
Okay.
So you get a lot lower sounds. And so the really magic with these ones is you can make really low instruments that are really small and really loud.
Yeah.
Which is like, especially if you want to play them outside or just like confuse people.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect. Yeah. So yeah, this is.
Man,
again,
this is insane.
This is more just like a test piece for work on some other instruments, but yeah, see the basics of it. And then for maybe the craziest instrument of these that I've made, this one, again,
I swear to God, I thought that was an actual flower pot. What the fuck are these?
So this, we were in Greece in the summer, in some like archaeological museum. I've seen all these ancient Greek vases. And I was just like, oh my God, that's perfect. That's just perfect. So with this, you have hidden inside between the white bit and the black bit, one of these membranes, completely out the way. And then you actually have almost like a loudspeaker horn to take the sound from the membrane onto the outside, and then tubes going around the outside. So anyway, it's this mad thing. I'm planning to make one that's, painted and has really nice patterns on, but this is my work in progress. So again, you see this, you've no idea it's an instrument, but then you can play it, and this one's really deep.
It must drive your partner insane when they're walking about going, is this a flute or is this not, Tom? Yeah. What is this, and can I play it or not?
Yeah. That's...
Man, I swear to God, can you play the TV? This is insane. I adore this. I cannot wait till you get the Brioche sword and these start going on sale.
Yeah, definitely.
Because these guys will be chomping on the bit to get at them.
And so, as well as making designs to sell, something that I would absolutely love to do, and this is the thing that would be like the main thing I'd want to do in this, is people come to me with an idea of like, hey, I want a instrument in some crazy shape because it's like I'm going to a party and we have this like pirate theme. Can I have like some kind of pirate instrument? Or like, hey, I want like a hook for my hand, but then somehow I can blow it and it make a sound, or whatever it is. So just like I'd really love people to just come with their crazy ideas, and we can work out just flutes or other instruments like these membrane horns. That'd be just really fun. And I think people are amazing at I guess costumes, cosplay, all this kind of stuff. But
so why not throw these things in as well?
Why not have just like these mad custom instruments to really bring things to another level?
Man, I'm just thinking now. I'm trying to think of some kind of connection to a pint of Guinness and a flute. If you could make a pint of Guinness that can play the flute for me, I would be delighted.
Yeah.
See, I was joking, but right, we'll stay to that, man. We've talked for an hour here, and I am fucking shocked that this has been so much fun. Again, there's nothing on sale yet, but what I would recommend everyone has to do is go and follow Instagram. Anywhere else? Anything else to check out?
Instagram for now, but I need to make some more things.
So everyone get on the Instagram. Misu Music, is it just...
Misu Instruments.
Misu Instruments, okay. Get on and follow it, because I imagine things will go quite quickly for you next year. And when they come out, you guys want to be the first ones on it. And you get to see all the mad things. You put up videos and stuff of what you're making and update people, so it is class to stay in touch with it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll forget. You'll forget about this in 2 or 3 months' time. So stay on the Instagram page, and then when they come out, you'll be updated. And you're like, fuck, I remember that. I'll get a couple of those in.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I think especially for, while things are still small scale, it'll be the perfect time if you're like, hey, Tom, I like your mushroom flute. Can I have one in this colour? Can I, like, like all that kind of stuff is very, very, very.
And you start giving ideas and start seeing what people think of it as well. That's class.
Yeah, that's definitely
amazing. Have you got anything else you want to talk about or plug before we go then?
I think that's probably enough for now.
It's not going to be the first episode we do. I'm going to come back to this sometime.
Maybe. Well, actually, one final plug. So I've been, as well as making instruments, also I'm a musician and play music, and I've been working on an album at the moment. And again, this is something I'll share through the Instagram page. So I actually have a second Instagram called Tomisu Music.
Nice.
And my idea is that so a lot of the songs or music videos for these songs will include custom made instruments for the individual songs.
So good.
So yeah, hopefully some fun mad flute madness in different scales and different shapes.
So yeah, you get to see these instruments in fucking action and see what they can do. I think again, they're recording the studio quality. You go and play them on an album, so that's the biggest compliment you can give them. Amazing.
Thanks,
then, guys, I'm gonna go. We're gonna go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Thank you, Tom. Man, this was way more than I expected. I'm fucking delighted. So I'll see you all next week then.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
Fuck.